Welcome to the Church Brand Guide podcast. My name is Michael, and I am so glad you're here today. Our topic is going to be about covering marketing promotion ideas for your events so you see new guests. That's the key for a promotion for a church event is that you want new people to come. And today we're going to be talking about how do you do that? How do you do that effectively? And the key is that you have to think about it as an event that builds your brand, or the promotion is one that builds your brand. Too many churches make the mistake of promoting just the event by itself, and what happens is that you basically are just doing a one-off promotion. But what if you could change that to where you're leveraging the event to then increase the footprint of your brand? What happens is that people become more aware of your church through the events that you're having because it points back to the overarching brand of the church. Many times churches struggle to promote events well because they just don't have a great system in place to know what to do in advance. It's the advanced planning, the advanced promotions that allow an event to be as effective as it can be. That's where you get a lot of the creativity, when you have some space to think about it. Have you ever been at that place where you have an event coming up and it's happening in just a couple weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks out, and you're scrambling just to get something put together that you can put out there and let people just be aware of what's happening at the church in just a couple of weeks? I've been there. I've done that too many times. And what happens is you end up wasting church resources. You waste some money because you're creating some sort of print material that has to be rushed to the printer. You pay that extra fee to get it rushed. Your creativity is not very good. You're just slapping some stuff together, maybe going on Canva and there's just throwing some things together that hopefully would work. You don't have a chance to really vet the ideas and run it by some people. You might even have some typos or some mistakes in there because you're just rushing. And that's stressful. You're just stressed out all the time. I don't know if you've ever been there or not, but you're just constantly chasing the ball. You're always working from behind. So what if you could figure that out to where you're not working from behind, but you're able to see new guests coming to your events because they're so well promoted? It's possible. And what you need to do is just have a clear system in place that provides an on-ramp for your church. So what I mean by that is it's not just a one-off promotion for an event that's happening. Maybe it's a men's event or a women's event, or maybe it's just a church event that everybody's invited to, or a kids VBS event, or whatever that might be. A lot of times churches, we just make the mistake of promoting the event as a one-off event. But I want to challenge you to think about it bigger than that. How can you promote the church through the event? What I mean by that is maybe you're using branded colors for the church. The church logo is on there. The church messaging is on there. As far as like the overarching message for the church is on there. So it's not just promoting the event, but it also has key ideas that are part of the church in the promotion. When we do that, we're able to grow the footprint of the brand of the church, and we're able to see some great results. I've been working with several churches in the past as their communications director, and one of the first things that I do is I create a system of promoting ideas that basically move people from one stage to the next. So there needs to be some triggers that allow you to think about promoting the church in context of steps. They're basically starting off as a stranger where they don't know anything about the church. So what's a trigger? What's a mechanism that you can put in place for those strangers that don't know anything about the church to then become aware of this event that's happening? So that what that might look like is maybe it's a Facebook ad where you're just running an ad with a graphic that is engaging, maybe a great photo, something along those lines that just engages people. I do these event promotions for several churches, even right now, where they might bring me in to just promote a specific event. One of the events I promote is a women's event for Cornerstone Church. And they have this annual event that they do, but it's an external event where they're promoting the event to people in the community. So yes, it is for church members for sure, but what they want to do is leverage it to invite women in the community to come to this event and get a great deal of benefit out of the event. In doing that, they promote the church. Like people come to the church for the event, and then at the event, they become aware of service times and kids ministry and youth ministry and all the different programs that they have at the church. So it's a great outreach type of an event that reaches out to new people and helps people to become aware of the church. Oh, by the way, just a side note, a lot of times when I go through the branding process with churches, money, I guess, is a factor. That's always the case with anything you're going to do. Budget is a factor. So one of the things that I like to do is position the marketing of the church, the new website or whatever we're doing, as an outreach. It's an outreach investment so that other people in the community can become aware of the church. So again, once you start thinking about your event as an outreach investment, then it allows you to have the right mindset of how to put together promotions that are really going to be effective. And so a couple key takeaways that I want to mention, actually three of them, is that you want to create on-ramps. I guess I'm calling these on-ramps. The difference between an on-ramp and just a regular event is that an on-ramp is designed to get new people to come to the church, to become aware of the church, and then make that next step to come to this event. So the event is specific to a pain point that they have. So in my example of the women's event, that's something where this church is trying to reach the women in the community that need relationships. They need good, meaningful relationships. So when we promote this event, we talk about how this is a great place to meet other women in the city and possibly form, lifelong friendships. And the event is really built around that idea. They have these social interactions that they encourage before the event, like before you show up for the service. So you have coffee and tea and different things that you can just come early and enjoy. And in the meantime, you're meeting people and mingling with people. And then after the event, they have an after party where they have desserts and also some coffees and that you can hang out after the event. So the event itself is designed to encourage community. So they're encouraging people to come and be a part of a church community, and the event is just an extension of that message. So you're able to, if what you want to do is provide these on-ramps once per quarter. So that's my recommendation. Once per quarter, have an on-ramp type of an event. An event can be a service. So it could be a special service that's just designed for new guests. And you rally the church around inviting new people to this specific service just at your regular service time at the church. That could be one of these on-ramps. Another on-ramp could be an event that's happening outside of the service time. So maybe it's the women's conference that's happening on Friday night at 7 p.m. and you're just inviting women in the church to come to this event. So that's one of the rules of an on-ramp. It invites new guests, new people that don't know anything about the church. I call them strangers. They don't know anything about the church. But once per quarter, we're going to create an on-ramp to invite new people. It's a really good rhythm so that your church is constantly inviting new guests to come and be a part of the church. The second thing about an on-ramp is that it allows us to budget so that we can steward the money well. And one of the ways that we can do that is by predetermining which events are on-ramps. We can also predetermine what type of promotions we're going to have for each of those events. So you might have a list of 10 things you're going to do to promote this event. And you know that 3 of those are going to be printing, and maybe the rest of them are going to be some sort of digital graphic of some kind that you just put out there on social media or maybe in different ways on the website or whatever else that might look like. Well, now you can budget for that. You know that you need to order, let's say it's 1,000 invite cards. Well, then you know the price of that is probably going to be $200. Or maybe you know you need to order mailers that you're going to send out to the church database. And you probably need 500 of those. Well, now you know how to budget whatever that might be, $250 for those prints. And now you can budget well in advance and get approved for those budgets. If you're a typical church that needs approval, maybe for the next year of how much money you're going to spend in marketing, this gives you a really good way to get that budget put together, because I'm oversimplifying here, but you might have 4 events once per quarter that has these 10 things you're going to be doing to promote the church really well, and maybe the total is $1,000 for each of those 4 events. So now there's $4,000 that you need for these on-ramps, in the next year. So again, it just allows you to plan really well. This is one of the things that I did as a communications director at the churches that I served at when I was on staff. It's just creating a system that we all know in advance, that the pastor knows, the church leadership knows, hey, these are the 10 items that we're going to use to promote this event. It's an external event, so we're going to use some marketing money and put it towards that. The third tip is that you'll be able to get people to take action. So if you're creating on-ramps, then the on-ramp has a call to action that is easy to understand. Because we're able to plan in advance, we're able to lead people to take action. So again, with the church women's event that I've been talking about, the conference, the call to action is to register. So register for the event. And on all of our promotions on social media, maybe the in-house screens that's running before service, every promotion that we do, even the landing page that we created for the website, we have a call to action to register. So it has the dates and the times of the event, but then the call to action very clearly over and over again consistently is to register for the event. And then of course like I said, there's a landing page where people can go to that page online and then register for that event right there on the website. So what we must do is plan in advance in order to get the results that we want, so that we can get new guests that will come to our church. We have to determine in advance what the on-ramps are. We have to provide a list of marketing items that we're going to do for the particular on-ramp, and then we need to budget for those on-ramp promotional pieces so that we know we have the money that we need to then promote it really well. So again, once per quarter, try to do that. It's not a hard rule, but it's just a good idea. If you do 2 per year, that's great for most churches to have 2 on-ramps per year that are external on-ramps. Maybe one's Easter and another one's Christmas. Those are really easy ones that I highly recommend that you create on-ramps for. And then there might be some other things throughout the year. Maybe you do a big VBS for your community with kids in the summertime. Or maybe you do a conference, like a men's conference or a women's conference throughout the year. That could be another great way to invite new strangers to come to the church and check you out. So a couple quick things to hit on before we wrap up this episode. I'd love for you to leave a review for this podcast, the Church Brain Guide podcast. It helps more people become aware of what we're doing here at Church Brain Guide, so I can help more churches begin to think more systematically about how they promote their church really well, how to increase the footprint of their brand, to cut through the noise and reach people where they are. Ultimately, we want to help you close the gap between who you are, the vision that God has given you, and those that you pursue that are in your community. So again, I'd love for you to leave a review and check out churchbrainguide.com as well. We've got some great resources there, some case studies to inspire you and to help you to see what this could look like for your church. In fact, this episode has a page on our website that has the show notes for everything that we're talking about here today, including examples of the women's event, so you can see the promotions that I created for Cornerstone Church and be inspired by what that might look like for your church. All right, so before we wrap it up, I have one thing I would like to do, and that is to go ahead and give you a list of what the promotions are that we used for Cornerstone Church, some examples. This isn't exactly what we did, but it's pretty close to what we did. I've kind of scaled. Cornerstone Church is a bigger church. They have about 1,200 people or so on a weekend. So we do some bigger numbers, but I wanted to give you at least some numbers to be able to play with. So here's the list of items that we use to promote an externally focused event, what I'm calling an on-ramp in today's episode. By the way, the on-ramp idea is this idea that your church is like a highway where you've got, all the people in the church kind of going 100 miles an hour towards that vision that God has given you. And then the on-ramp provides these ramps to get new people that are not part of the church yet to merge into the church. That merge is key because it's not about a big jerky interaction that's hard for people to get into. It's a merge. It makes it really easy for people to join the church. So here's the list. We have business card sized invites that we create for the event. So the women's event would have a business card sized invite. So everybody in the church is mobilized with these invite cards to talk to coworkers or neighbors or family members to come to the church. We do a screen graphic that's 1920 by 1080 pixels. So we can put that on pre-service, post-service in the auditorium, also in the lobby areas. And then they also do like an announcement during service. So we have that slide on there as well. We have 5 social media graphics that we create. They're square graphics. We do 1200 by 1200. We like to use Canva to create those graphics so that it's really easy to make any changes we might need to make with Canva. We do an email blast graphic. So they send out an email blast to the church. And at the top of that, we just have a nice graphic that has the event brand and messaging on that graphic. We do a Facebook cover. So for several weeks leading up to the event, we will just change out the cover on the Facebook page so that it has some details about the event and the look and feel of the event. We send out a mailer that's an internal mailer. So we just take the database and we just see who was active in the database and get a number. So let's just say it's 500 people that are active in the database. Well, then we just create 500 postcards and mail it out to those people. And that's simple to do where you can just kind of hand mail that. 500 is not too crazy. You can print labels, stick them on the postcards, and it's fairly cheap to get 500 printed, probably $100 or so to get those printed. So again, you can scale that up if your church is bigger, if your database is bigger. Just want to give you some numbers to play with. We create posters to put around the church. Let's say there's 12 posters. They're 22 by 28 in size. So we put those in key areas throughout the church. Check-in areas for the kids, the main lobby area, the coffee area. Restrooms are a great place to put posters because people are going in and out of there frequently. So we just have about 12 posters that we produce for the events. We have a large lobby banner that we place out in the lobby. So this church has a large lobby, and on either side of the lobby we create a 3 foot by 5 foot graphic that just sits up on the wall, so fairly high so you can see it. And those are produced, 2 of those in the lobby. And then create a website landing page, which is basically a page on the website that has all the event information. The specific look and feel for the event is also included on that landing page. And so the look and feel of the event would kind of tie into the church, like the font and some other things, but it'll be unique to this event. So on-ramp events are bigger events, so it can have more of a unique look to it that's specific to the theme of that event. So maybe the heading, the name of the event, you can use a unique font for that. But maybe the body text that has all the information is the church branded, text, the font that you might use for the church. So there's a little bit of tie-in. The colors could be completely unique to the event, so that it has a unique vibe to it. That's kind of how we treat it. Like it's a unique event, but as much as we can, we try to tie it back into the church. But we're not trying to force it. We're not trying to force that church look onto it, because this is designed for a unique audience. So again, like a women's event is designed specifically for women in the community that are wanting, new friendships and different things like that. That's the problem that we're trying to solve with this women's event. Now, the church branding is going to be appealing to a wider audience or a different audience than just women. So again, we have a unique look for the event that's specifically for the women, but we do try to tie it back into the church in small ways. So hopefully this helps you get your head wrapped around what event promotions might look like for your church. But as you think about it, not from an event only perspective, but from a branding perspective. How do you increase the footprint of your brand so that you get new guests to come? You're leveraging events to create momentum for the church. When you do this well, the church is an exciting place. You're having fun because you have plenty of time. You've got the budget and you're enjoying what you do. You're not wasting the resources of the church. You're utilizing them really well, and you're being very effective with that. So again, hopefully this helps you out in today's episode. Please leave a review. Go to churchbrandingguide.com. If you haven't gotten the free branding checklist that I offer on that website, make sure you grab that. It's going to help you quite a bit to understand what branding is and how to apply it for your church so you get the best results. A lot of it is just a systematic way of thinking about how do you communicate your church. Really, that's what this podcast is all about as well, is helping you to develop a mindset inside of you of how do you think of your church through the branding lens so that you are able to be more effective in your marketing. So you're cutting through the noise and you're reaching people where they are. So thanks again for joining me, and I will see you on the next episode.